Hey everybody, good morning. This is Michelle from Creative Operation, and today we are coming to you live from my living room. We have decorated for Christmas, and I've got all kinds of fun things going on, and our tree is up, and I have one of my retreat projects done from Winterfest at Country Cuff Creations. I'm so excited, but there's our tree. Show you that really pretty. I'm sitting on the floor, so I'm trying to show you this while I'm sitting on the floor. We've got our dancers over there. We've got a really cool dancing display back there that the dancers go around and around and plays Christmas carols. It's really nice. Well, what I wanted to show you is this is what we're going to make today in the tutorial that's going to follow. I came up with an idea this morning to make some cupcake holders. Now, I'm not calling them wrappers. They are not liners. They are not to be used in the oven, but they are cupcake holders. And I don't have cupcakes, unfortunately, here. So I filled them with some Christmas, wrapping material, but I just wanted to give you kind of a close-up of what we're going to make today. And this is an all-in-one kind of thing. There's no cutting, there's just scoring and gluing. And I used Christmas Cheer, which is a collection from Country Craft Creations. I'll try to go back here too so you can see. I made 6 of them. They only require a 6x6 piece of paper. And then I made cupcake pokes to put in your cupcakes. So when you bake your cupcakes and get them all ready to go, you can put them in these pretty little holders and you can stick a cupcake topper or, poke in there. And it would be a really cute and festive way to display your cupcakes for your Christmas parties. Also, I was thinking that, I'm trying to get you some more views here. Sorry for that. This would be fun to do for a nut cup or fill them with candies. You can see the backs of those. I wrapped seam binding around them, and then I also put some little sleigh bells and some baker's twine with some silver in it. They're just really cute. They're super easy. And the cupcake toppers, they are adorable. They're using the cut-aparts from the Christmas Cheer collection. And they're just adorable. I just love them. So that's what we're going to be making today. I thought this would be fun to do. Again, these are not for baking. These are just for display purposes, but they are fun to make, fun to do, and very easy. Let's get to the tutorial. Okay, real quick, I want to show you how I made the cupcake pokes to put in your cupcakes if you want to. I thought this was a cute little idea. I used some punches from my stash, so I just did this heart shape right here, and then I did some snowflakes. I used Pearl Sheen Gold and Pearl Sheen White for those 2 punch outs, and then I took some of the cut aparts from Christmas Cheer and I cut those out, and I used these popsicle sticks that I had in my stash. So they look like this. I had those. Other ideas that you could use are popsicle sticks that you can get at any local store. You could also use straws, and I didn't grab those out, but I have a whole bunch of straws that you could also use as a base for the cupcake poke. So whatever you have on hand would work really well. Wooden skewers for a barbecue would work really well. Any of those kinds of things, but that's basically what I did. So again, die cuts on the back, and then I just layered them. I did use some foam tape to go around the sticks so that way this wasn't kind of bent in the middle. It was raised up and had a little bit of dimension on them. So I made this one here with Santa Claus. It says Joy. And then I made her. She's hanging off the ornament string. Love her. Made the little elves who are sleeping after they've had a little elf martini. And then, let's see, here's my Christmas tree. And here is my North Pole letter. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. They're really super simple to put together. I did go ahead and punch the heart out of the Pearl Sheen Gold again, and then that's from Country Craft Creations. Then I just layered a couple snowflakes on there, and I'm going to lay that down, and I'm trying to get them about the same height, so I'm just going to lay one next to it just so I can see where I want to, you know, kind of lay my stick. And then I'm going to just take my hot glue, because that's going to be the best thing to actually make the stick kind of stay where I want, and put a little dollop there. And then I'm just kind of trying to make sure that they're about the same height, and I'm putting it right in the middle. Now I'm using my grid to kind of line up my heart shape also, and make sure that's straight, and then make sure my stick is straight, so like things aren't wonky, okay? So then while that dries, this is the cut apart that I'm going to use for this particular one. So what I'm going to want to do is put a little bit of foam tape on either side where that stick is going to be, just to kind of bump that up. So make sure that your image is, you know, the way you want it. So you got it right side up. I'm going to have him off a little bit, so I know that those 2 points are kind of my top and bottom here. And then I'm going to just put my foam tape on either side. And then I'm going to, because this foam tape is a little bit on the skinny side, I'm going to bump it up and do double. So it just depends on, you know, the thickness of your foam tape, or your foam dots. You can use those as well, and the height, you know, of your stick. I tried it with one layer of this particular tape, and it didn't work very well. So do that and do that. Okay, so now I have 2 layers of my foam tape, and I'm going to just take off those tapes. All right. Right side up, and just kind of lay that down. Oh, got them a little crooked. There we go. All right. And then there is my last cupcake poke. So I made 6 of those, and then I will be back in a few minutes, and I will show you the little cupcake wrappers. Okay, I'm going to show you how to make what I'm calling cupcake wrappers. These are not bakeable cupcake liners. Do not put these in your oven, okay? These are to put your cupcakes in for, you know, a decorative purpose. And then we'll use, you know, you can use one of your little plant pokes in your cupcake, and it would be an absolutely adorable little thing. So do not bake your cupcakes in these liners, okay? Disclaimer, do not do it. All right, so I'm going to show you how to make these. Now, I thought that they would be also really cute to use for other things too. So you could use them like as nut cups. You could make these in, you know, different patterns, use them on your desk to put paper clips in, you know, whatever you want. So they're very cute. They're very fun to make. And they're really super simple. It just takes a couple scores and a little bit of glue, and you're done. So they do have a square bottom, but the sides are kind of rounded because we're not going to do scoring on all 4 corners. So they're, you know, they are more square shaped, but they do have a little bit of rounding to them. And then I'll show you how I kind of curved those around. So I did make a bunch of them, and I used different papers, and they just look really adorable, I think. And they're very fun. They're kind of based off of like the tulip cupcake liners that you can buy. Not quite, but these are holders. These are not liners. Do not bake with them. Okay, so you're going to need a piece of 6x6, and I use pattern paper. You can use any kind of paper you want. You can use cardstock, whatever. And I apologize, my lawn guys have just started doing their thing out there, so hopefully that's not going to be too bothersome. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 6x6 in the scoreboard, and then what I want to do is at the 3-inch mark on all 4 sides, I'm only going to score about 1.25 inches down. It doesn't have to be super exact, but what I ended up doing was I put my ruler against this measuring piece here at about 1 5/8, because then I have a stopper, and then I'm going to just score down at the 3-inch mark. Then I'm going to turn it and do it again. Okay, so I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. So you're just going to score down about 1.25 inches. If you prefer and have paper that you can do that with, you can make pencil marks and do that, but I just found it pretty easy and simple just to do that. So I'm just lining up the edge of my ruler just about at 5/8 because I need a little stopping distance with the thickness of my bone folder, okay? And I'm just scoring down. That's all I'm gonna do. I don't wanna score, I mean, if you can, if you want, and you will end up, one of mine, I did it, you will end up with score marks in the bottom of your box. If it doesn't bother you, then no big deal. You can just go 3 and score all the way down. But the other ones do not have a score line down the bottom. Doesn't really matter. You're gonna put stuff in it anyway. So, but if it's something that bothers you, you know, do it this way. So that's what I did. Okay, then the second step. So those are the blue marks that I made. So at 3 inches on all 4 sides, scored 1 1/4 inches down. Then you're going to take and put your piece on the diagonal. Now that's why I have this red line down my scoreboard, because I can match my corners of my squares, and I can have diagonal scores, and I can kind of see where things are. So that's why I do that. So you're going to put your piece in and making sure that you're on the same score line, and then at the 7 1/4 inch line, because I'm starting at 6 here, so 1 1/4 inch away from that center, you're going to score down, but you're only going to score down to where that score meets the first little 1/4 inch or 1 1/4 inch scores we did. Okay, so you're not going to go all the way through. You're going to go from 7 1/4 just down to where that meets, and then you're going to turn, line up your points, 7 1/4 inch, which is 1 1/4 inch away from my center. Okay, so wherever that lands for you when you use your scoreboard, and you're going to score down just to meet that score line here. Okay, you're going to do that on all 4 sides. 7 1/4 inch down to where that score line meets that we already made. And then the 4th one, do the same thing. So make sure your corners are in the same grid, 7 1/4 inch, and everything should match up just perfect if you do it like that. Okay, so then you're going to have this weird little kind of array of folding to do. Okay, so you'll notice that you've got this nice big straight line. It doesn't go all the way through. I'm just going to start at the end, and I'm just going to finger press it just to where that meets. I'm not going to go all the way down. Then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start at the outside and work my way in, like so. Turn it, work my way in, turn it, work my way in. All right, and just finger press. You don't need your bone folder for this. It's probably better if you don't, because then you'll get more of a rounded kind of feel to it, I think. All right, so once you do that, then the blue lines here, we're going to press those, okay? And those should press down pretty simply and pretty easily, since we already did the longer ones, okay? So we're just gonna press those. All right, now here's where the fun starts. So I needed some longer clips. So if you have these short ones, they weren't quite long enough to do this with. These are also clamps that I got at the dollar store. These were in the craft section, they're pink. These were in the tool section, they're red. They're the same clamps. So I need 4 of those. You can use clothespins as well, because they'll reach down a little bit further. And then you'll need your art glitter glue. So what I'm going to do, this is my outside. So we scored on the outside, okay? So, oh, I take that back. So we have one more fold to do. So on the outside, we're going to just fold that over like that, okay? We're going to do that as we glue, okay? So I'm going to put on the outside of your piece some glue there, and then I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue here, okay? So in that little corner triangle on both sides, we're going to put a little bit of glue, and then that's going to fold up like this, and then wrap around like that. And I am not creasing this. I'm just kind of wrapping it ever so gently. And then I'm going to use my clamp to hold that in place and let it dry. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to just kind of give it a little bit of a bend. Drop my ruler. So always have to throw or drop something. I put glue on the inside of that little tiny triangle. on the outside of that little tiny triangle, and I'm going to hold that down, grab my clamp, and let it sit, okay? And that's what you're gonna do all the way around. So it gets a little wobbly with the clamps, so just be careful. And we're gonna fold that around. Okay. Last one. Sometimes, let's see, it might be easier sometimes to hold the clamps and do it that way. A little bit of glue. I'm gonna fold that around and then clamp it. And we're gonna let that sit for just a few minutes. So there's a little bit of tension on those folds. But you can see the piece actually is pretty sturdy because it's holding all 4 of those clamps up, and they're not flopping over. So this is a pretty sturdy project. So while that's drying, then what I ended up doing is once they were dry and the pieces were in place, then you can take your bone folder and then just kind of gently fold those out so they kind of, you know, flare out like a flower, okay? And then that's how I formed that shape. All right, and that's it. That is all there is to making these. So then you can take your cupcake after it is baked in its own liner, pop it in there, and then you have a cute little presentation. You can use these again as nut cups. You can decorate these any way you want. You could put little cut aparts on the outside if you wish. So some of these, I use the pattern paper in the outside here. This is the outside in the you know, the same paper but 2 different ways, so you can see that you can get 2 different looks out of that. And you know, you can make these again for little, you know, things to put in your you know, your clips in. You could you know, do something like that on your desk. These would be cute as like little nut cups. You could fill them with candy kisses or whatever, give them as presents. So anyways, that is kind of where we're at with that tutorial. So now that this is kind of set, because art glitter glue is what I'm using and it sets pretty quickly, then you can go back and, like I said, you can take your bone folder and then just gently fold those back and get kind of a pretty little thing. You could also, if you wanted to, since this is my little demo piece, you could take and, you know, like glue that down if you wish. And let's just do that. Let's just use a little hot glue here since I had my hot glue out. And you could, you know, fold that back. I'm just holding that for just a second. Make a nice little curved, rounded edge there. That's another idea that you could do. One of my other prototypes that I was playing with, just be careful you don't burn yourself with your hot glue, is I took a corner punch. Hopefully you can see that. And I used a corner punch on it so that it had a little bit of a design to it. So there's lots of different things you can do. Now this paper that I'm using here is really, it's practice paper. This is prototype paper here, so it's not that great. I would use artisan cardstock if you're going to use cardstock for this. So anyways, those are some ideas. If you decide that you want to corner punch, you know, after the fact, you totally can. You can just, there's a perfect corner in there. You just pop your little punch in there and do that. So those are some ideas for you. So anyways, that is my tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it was fun to do. And we've got our cupcake liners. We've got our cupcake pokes here. And, you know, it's something fun and simple that you can do. You can do them in all kinds of different, you know, paper collections. So you could do, you know, birthdays, Christmas, New Year's, whatever. Whoops, is floating your boat. So I'm going to quit while I'm ahead because I keep throwing things all over the place. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon with more tutorials. Bye-bye.